So what I did just before our Dubai Mastermind in November, I really just spent quite a few days really unpacking everything that you need to do to get through the different layers. So off that roadmap, and really chunked it down into different components inside the program, different teachings inside Seven Figure and Mastermind, and really nailing down some checkpoints of what you need to do in order to attract, deliver, systemize, and scale your recruitment agency. So we put it into different layers. The bottom part is 0 to 10K months. This is normally 1 to 2 deals a month, depending on your average fee. These are really the pillars that you need to do. Firstly, with attraction, you should all have your client acquisition system up and running, your live leads, and you've delegated some of your LinkedIn chat to your VA in order to attract. In terms of delivering, you should all be at hiring your first VA, working a job 10 steps of going through that process, rinse and repeat every single time you get a job in to deliver, and really mastering the close script. It still stands the test of time today in terms of mastering that close so you can actually close more candidates, because there's no good getting offers and getting jobs on and getting candidates offers if you're not closing properly. And then obviously you've got LinkedIn candidate automation. So Dripify is the tool that we all use inside the program now, and that's working really well. And there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with Dripify with Recruiterflow, the ATS system that we recommend, and a few Zapier links that can really complement each other. You've all got your client map builder built out, and delegate low value activities to systemize, because that's the only way you're going to help try and scale up. Boost some productivity to skill, mindsets, so going through the 6 and 7 figure mindset training and your current self and desired self training. That was new training that I put in Recruit Accelerator 2.0 in order to be the person that you need to become. Very important and crucial. So these are the bottom pillars, and these are the foundations of going to level 1 of a solopreneur business that can really help you get to like 10, 20K months. And then the middle layer is mainly where you're taking things to the next level. So these are the things that are important for growth in order to hire your first employee. So hiring your first delivery consultant is very important to help delivery. Winning retainers, which is what a lot of you were saying today, that's probably the key thing in terms of attraction, is not just getting any type of client, it's actually winning retained, repeatable business. So implementing the magic letter, I think these are coming back this year really well in terms of the Dream 100 campaign and the letter. I know some of you might be aware of ChatGPT AI and how powerful that is. We're doing some amazing stuff behind the scenes. I'm actually going to be doing a workshop on that in the coming weeks inside the program around how effective ChatGPT can be for a recruitment agency. We're working on quite a few things with an expert there in order to build that out. The future recruitment agency automation in 2023. So we're really seeing how we can unlock the power of ChatGPT, revolutionize your recruitment agency in 2023. So there's a lot of things it can do, like automate repetitive tasks, generate custom reports and analytics for both candidates and clients, provide training and support to new employees. Jack was asking that before, and for the rest of you. So pretty much going in depth how you can use ChatGPT on quite a few things. So it's so powerful. So we're just working on this project at the moment to implement. So going back to the roadmap, in terms of the middle layer, where you all are with solopreneurs, this is the sticking point where you're going from solopreneur to your boutique agency. Is have you got in place the signature sales system, whether it's a pitch deck to win retained business, and what your unfair advantage is to win that retainer. So really building out the signature service pitch deck, dialing in your candidate nurture campaigns. So again, these are important for this year in terms of have you dialed them in with your ATS system and your Dripify LinkedIn automation, where you know how you can nurture candidates every single month. You should be engaging with your candidate audience in your niche, whether it's through LinkedIn or email, and offering different value points and touch points. That's very important. And I think for all of you that you want to move to boutique agency level, hiring a delivery consultant. And we've covered off this quite in-depth training inside 7 Figure Elite Mastermind, and that's been all around hiring delivery consultants offshore. And that model's worked very, very well remotely, where you can source, find and hire them for between $1,000 to $1,500 a month. And these delivery consultants are doing deals, 2, 3, 4 deals a month inside some of the agencies there. And that's been very powerful because you're not overpaying, particularly most of you in the US and UK. The big basic salaries that demand for even just an average recruiter nowadays, you're probably paying in the UK at least 30 to 35,000 pounds, sometimes 40,000 pounds a year basic. In the US, I know it goes up to 60, 70, 80. So that's a really cool offshore remote model that's actually dialed in very, very well. But the only way you can hire that delivery consultant is making sure you've got your Slack set up. So you need a Slack builder. So you need to go through Slack and make sure you've got the right type of channels in place. You've linked it in with Zapier automation. So all of the channels and the structures are there to make sure that when you bring the delivery consultant in, you've got the business functioning. ATS install. So I would say that when you're at like 20, 30K months consistently, you should all have an ATS. I think most of you on this session have. If you haven't booked in a call with Recruiterflow, I suggest you do. I know there's some other good ATSs out there, but the stuff that Manan and the team are doing at Recruiterflow to keep things simple, effective, easy user interface, and it connects in open source with like different plugins, I think is very important for everyone. And a lot of things that I think people struggle with the client side, when you want more clients, you should all have Streak CRM Pipeline Manager set up. So just on a raise of hands in the group so far, just so I understand where everyone's at, has everyone implemented Streak CRM in the Pipeline Manager in terms of nurturing candidates? So not many of you have implemented that. And I would still say to this day, the way I won over 150 clients inside Ronald James, and how I would say probably the most effective people inside the mastermind, they've definitely got a foothold of the nurture side of the client acquisition and Dream 100, because you really can't build onto Dream 100 without your Streak. And I think you should all become competent in Streak CRM. It's a free tool, plugs into Gmail. There is going to be a workshop I'm going to be doing inside Accelerator over the next few weeks with Ken around building out Streak CRM pipeline, and we're going to do a couple live on a call of how you implement that. But I think if you haven't done that already, it's very, very important to implement. No, not for candidates. This is Streak CRM pipeline is literally just for clients. And then on to scale is where we're really creating our vision. So if you don't know where you're going, you're not going to get there. So it's very important that we map out your vision. So one of the pieces of training that we go through is actually creating that vision of what the business looks like, what your unfair advantages are, what your principles are of the business and the culture that you want to create as you build a team. Installing Profit First. So to give you just a quick synopsis of that, I implemented this probably 4 or 5 years ago inside Ronald James. I read the book called Profit First. So if you haven't read that book, it's a good book, go and get it. And really the emphasis is off, as business owners, we end up paying ourselves last. So we pay all of the bills, all the invoices, all the team, all of the software, everything, and we get what's left. And it's really just changing our mindset of flipping that on its head. So every time an invoice comes in for 10K, you're paying yourself first. And it's all about creating different bank accounts and savings accounts within your business bank. So we break ours up to, I think, 6 bank accounts. So we've got 20% for VAT. So I have a separate VAT bank account. So every time the 10K comes in, 2K goes into that VAT account straight away. So I don't touch that. Because then at least you know exactly from a cash flow perspective what money you've got to work with. So paying yourself first is very important. Then I would pay myself. So it would be 20% to me. So every time the transaction would come in and we get paid, I would do this once a week. So normally I would top up, maybe about 50, 60K coming in. So 60K came in, I would do 20% to me. So £12,000 or $12,000 goes into my pot, 20% into VAT. And then I would have a pot for operational expenses. So when you do your year plan of what all your costs and your budgets are, you would put maybe 20 to 25, 30% on operational costs. And then you would have corporation tax. So it might be a different type of tax for you in the US, but you're going to have a pot where, because you're going to pay 20% of your profits back to the taxman. So you would have a pot for tax, and then we would have a pot for contingency or investment. So you know when people say, oh, I'm putting the money in to reinvest in my business. Well, no, you're not. You're just spending more money than you're making, and you think you've invested in a business, but you're not. So then it gets you thinking more creatively as an actual business owner. When you look to make a decision on hiring a new employee, bringing in new tools, moving new office, have you got the funds to do that? Is it in your pot for investing in the business or in the cash flow pot? Or are you dipping into the 20% VAT? Are you dipping into the 20% profit that you're paying yourself? Because when you're taking it out of your account, that's your 20% profit for every deal you do, it makes you think a little bit more, and it makes you more smarter with business and financial decisions. But it also, what it helped me do was it helped me elevate my prices and how much I charge with our clients, because I knew what was in my business bank of what my profit was. And I was thinking, well, if I've got all of these costs, then I'm going to charge more because my pot wasn't growing as it should have been. It's a very interesting scenario. I know I've just covered it off a little bit fast there, but if you want to read the book, you can check it out. And then scaling up. So what we want to do here is we want to try and free up 1 day a week. That's the number one thing for you to scale up to this top tier here, which is mainly everything we cover off inside the mastermind, help you build on. You need to free a day up so you can implement the top part, because the hard part is getting past 100K months consistently. Some of you might have done 100K a month before, but have you done it back to back to back to back to back? Totally different. Like our agency consistently does 100K months every single month, and it has done for 4 years now, give or take. So the difference is having these top layer structures. And this is the thing that you need probably a lot more help building out. Probably the biggest game changer for Ronald James and a lot of the members that have got to 6-figure months has definitely been the marketing sourcing system. So actually focusing on inbound marketing and the marketing sourcing system, where most people, I mean, we've got 6 marketing sources in our business now, doing video outreach, voice note follow-ups, the events, the webinars, the social media, videos, jobs of the day, all on LinkedIn, and sourcing every single candidate for our recruiters. That works really, really well. So that's the biggest thing. I would say there's a shift to moving from 30, 40K months to 100K months as your marketing sourcing system, because this complements everything, because then you can build out a real inbound marketing function for both candidates and clients, and in special nurture campaigns where we can put tracking links on jobs of the week scenarios or when they hit the website. Really building out candidate funnel 2.0s is important as well for attraction. Delivery is dialing in the sourcing team, making sure they're consistent, they're getting the right calls booked in, they're making the right placements. And then you're building out rock niche events. So I don't know how many has done events. I mean, one of our previous events that we did inside our DevHub brand, we smashed about 100 people live in that event. Events are going to be very, very big. And that can be done on webinars. So that's going to create your unfair advantage for both when you're pitching retainers. What I used to do was when I would do a pitch to win maybe 10 or 15 roles, I would pitch them being able to speak at our next tech event, and we'd show them all the branding, the previous videos and the screenshots, etc., and the pull that we get from the candidate audience. And we'd say we'd normally sell that slot for maybe 2, 3, 4K, and we're going to give them and roll it in as part of the deal for the retained agreement. And that worked really, really well because we ended up getting speakers, which was our retained client. And then we could attract all the candidates that we wanted that could potentially work for them. And then we get all the candidates interested in the company. Yeah, that worked very, very well. Worked big for a Tesco Bank account that we had, which was like a $500,000 a year retainer. Delivery, closing more offers. There's a lot more refining that needs to go for making sure you get offers over the line. Systemization. So my new executive assistant inside Ronald James, and she also does a lot of PA work for me inside Agency Blueprint. The biggest thing when you go into 100K a month, you need a PA. And it's not a PA in the Philippines, it's actually a physical. I call them executive assistants because you want them to be able to do some ops work as well. So really helping you dial in the technology and the systems to make sure nothing breaks, because as you scale, things break. So actually dialing in Zapier automation, dialing in your metrics so you've got good reporting tools. I don't know if I've included in here in one of the mastermind playbooks, but another thing that's very, very important is that. Then scaling. So the golden holy grail is how to scale without you. So it's one thing that I help work more inside the mastermind is how you actually build a business that scales without you. Because every single decision that you make as you grow with the agency, you need to make sure you're doing it right so it can scale without you. Because there's a lot of mistakes that you make along the way when you hire, when you implement certain things that the two relying on you. So that's very important. Implementing the meeting rhythm. I learned this from the book called Traction by Gino Wickman. Really cool book. If you haven't read it, go read it. So we implement the meeting rhythm, and that works very well because another thing that I've got our operations executive assistant to do is really help dial in the system. So she's our what I'll call implementer in the business. And then how you convert profit to wealth. So tax strategies, investment strategies, because once you make money, you need to keep money. And now that I've learned that from being a multimillionaire is how you actually keep the profit and keep the wealth growing as wealth generation, creation is such a different minefield. Like that's really blew my mind. And I've spent a lot of money just learning from different mentors, reading lots of books, attending different masterminds myself, just how you take things from 7 figures to 8 figures, all about like actually how you convert that into wealth. That's a little bit of a journey. I hope you find that part useful because it just gives you a little bit of a clearer picture of what you need to dive in.